What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and it is time for another cheeky post-commentary action. This time, I'm going to be showing off my set. This is a god that I've been having an insane amount of success with on the ranked ladder. I believe every time I've made it to the classical age with set, so far I've had a lot of success. Let's just say that much. And the way in which I've been having success is fairly. I've been playing fairly standard with this god. I haven't been doing any crazy one talent center cheeses. I haven't really been doing any crazy myth unit shenanigans. I've just been trying to play set in a really solid way. He recently got a fairly hefty buff with 5% extra reduction on his already 5% reduction on unit cost, so he gets like 10% off. So he actually gets a lot of economy from that doesn't actually translate into score. Like, you know, you get more score. If I had the extra 10% economy, my score would look a lot better. So you can get a lot of, you can get tricked when you're playing against set to think you're actually further in front than you are. Realistically speaking, if you're equal score with set, they're actually just in front of you, because that's kind of how the thing's going. If you're behind as set, you're actually equal. If you're really behind as set, you're losing, right? So that's important. So I wanted to take you through this and just walk through my thought process on how to play some matchups here. I know a lot of players, I've had a lot of conversations with players, and they say, man, you just can't beat Greek unless you spam myth units. Like, you need the myth units to win with Greek. And while I might have agreed with this maybe before some buffs and I guess some nerfs as well to some things, I don't think that's the case anymore with Egyptian. I think the Egyptian's units are really, really strong. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure that realistically, if you control your army well, I'm not sure that you actually ever are going to be struggling to really win against a Greek army, with the exception of potentially Artemis arrows, which everyone kind of struggles with. But even when the Artemis arrows comes out, you can still deal with that. What I mean by Artemis arrows, I mean the shafts of the plague. But nonetheless, we're playing against Poseidon in the first game of this series of games I played with set. This is against Lordy. I believe he's like a 1700, 1750 elo player. So in the top 100, take that however you want to take it based on the difference in skill here. But nonetheless, we're still going to be showing off my thought process. So against Greek, we want a forward town center. If I can get a forward town center, it gives me a launch pad to get stuff happening. A launch pad to go and harass my opponent with, or set up on a gold mine and get close to my opponent's base with my production buildings and all the good stuff that happens then. So Lordy advances really, really quickly here through Hermes, and I guess the things that I'm scared of in this one is going to be, well, one, he can harass me with this, already harassing me with this Theseus, but mostly I'm like, well, I still want to go and get my talent center on the front. So how am I going to get that? So I'm going to make some priests and take a little bit longer to go out and actually take the town center. I believe if I've got 3 priests, it's actually more than enough to do anything. You can see you can actually, I can't do any damage right now in the archaic age because I don't have any damage, but I still have my 7.5 speed. Now, a bit of a vision here. I see his stable. This, to be completely honest, does make me scared. I probably shouldn't go for the town center straight away. So I drop a barracks, and I'm going to go ahead and get myself some spearmen out first while I'm trying to decide what I should do, because I saw that stable. Now, I could risk it for the biscuit, so to speak, and just rush up the town center, but instead I'm going to just get a little bit of support here, and then I'm going to send my villagers over to the town center and call it a day. I really want the forward town center. I could potentially go over onto my left here and just pick up that back town center. It's far enough away from my opponent's base that had I just gone for the naked town center there, it probably would have been fine. But at this point, get a couple units, wander over to the town center, put it up. Much more safe than doing it any other way. And yeah, this is currently my thought against Poseidon. Now, if the Poseidon player goes for something crazy like 2 stables, a huge amount of units, I might get trapped here. But realistically speaking, I think most Poseidon players, when they see what's happening, they're going for their own second talent center behind this anyways. My base is nice and safe, so I don't have to worry about anything. And in getting up this talent center, I've got a back gold mine behind it, and I'm nice and close to my opponent. The other option could be the shifting sands onto a forward town center. I'll explain why this is really risky in one of the following videos. So just keep it in the back of your mind that option is there, but it is a risky move against some civs, and I think that Poseidon is one of those. So now I have a couple of spearmen. I've got my town center up. I'm going to now look to go to the next age. He's obviously going to come in and try and kill me here, but there's not... I'll lose my Wadget, unfortunately. There's not really anything he can do, apart from killing off a spearman or killing off some animals, but I can eat those as well, even though they're a bit away from my town center. I'm going to be looking for villagers, and if he's going for a town center, I assume he has. I'm just double checking this on the top side there. And now we're effectively just playing ourselves a 2 town center game. A little bit of sweaty micro here to get some villager kills. The town center can't hit my spearman if it's running. Unfortunately, I didn't get any kills, but the sweatiest of micro there. As we can also come and steal some of those deers to eat underneath my town center. I got way too much gold. My economy, unfortunately, macro-wise, didn't do it correctly. But instead of saying to myself, hey, I screwed up, let me double down on this screw up and do something with that gold, I'm just going to move my villagers onto food, get to the next stage, and it's fine. So you can always be adaptive in a game of Age of Mythology. You don't have to follow a strict build order, and a lot of the time with set, you have to be prepared to do this sort of stuff because things can get very, very messy. Nonetheless, the next plan is Heroic Age, and effectively we have to be prepared to deal with what he's going to be doing. So what is he going to be doing? Poseidon likes cavalry and centaur. So what is the best unit composition I can make against Hippias centaur? It's probably some sort of spearman camel rider, to be completely honest, at this point. Chariot archers are okay to build if you have the spearman, but I think the ideal comp is probably going to be camel rider, chariot archer. Now, you also do need to make sure you get some wood income, so you can't just go straight for food and gold, because you do want to get yourself shaft mine and stuff like that. The other thing is I'm not sure how many centaur he's going to have, so there is a world where maybe getting some chariot archers out as well isn't a bad thing, but I can't exactly remember what I built at this point. I'm pretty sure I did get some chariot archers actually, and I think I regretted it a little bit. So yeah, if you're ever in this position, you see all these hippies, you can think you're okay with the spearmen, but it might be best to build some camel riders as well. Unfortunately, my priest got found stealing the hunt. I'm going to try and save one of them there, but losing 2 isn't ideal. And we are going to the next stage. We've got only 2 monuments up, and we're going to have to throw some more barracks down as well. But it's effectively here, the next plan is get Migdols and set ourselves up to make an army and start putting pressure on. I didn't get any villager kills. He hasn't had any villager kills. I got a little bit of harassment on his hunt. He killed off a couple of my priests. I'm going to get another monument here. It's always important to just keep putting these down as the game goes on. I mean, I probably could have afforded like a second Migdol straight away, which is probably another way to go there instead of that extra monument, but I would assume that at some point I'm going to want this. One technology I sometimes get, sometimes don't get. I think it's really good, but realistically, it's not that important, is clairvoyance. It just costs a lot of gold. It's nice to have, but realistically, I want everything else. And one thing here that I'm doing is I see my gold mine almost expired. Nice raid by him to pick off my pharaoh there. Was not paying attention, was too busy doing other stuff. But one thing I do there is, and I think you can incorporate this into your gameplay, is when you take a look at your base and you're making like changes and things, if you see a resource about to expire, just shift click it to the next resource, whatever it may be. What I like to do is, in my main base, I like to not move my gold villagers to extra gold mines. I prefer to move them from the gold mine onto herdables, and that way, or onto hunt. That way there's just less walking time, and I'm all good. He does notice my town center going up, and I think I make a much better decision here to throw up another Migdol. In fact, I should be putting up 2 Migdols here. Now, the one thing that you got to be scared about when playing against Poseidon is a Dionysus push with a whole bunch of Hippias. So you absolutely do need 3 Migdols to defend against that. I've got a Citadel Center there as well, which is another big help. It's a little bit off from the fight on the gold mine, but if I can get 3 Migdols up, that's going to be a very, very tough thing for him to push in onto. So yeah, we're scared of that, so getting up a couple more Migdols. I'm still building Chariot Archers. I was saying at the start, better to go for Camel Riders here, and I think you'll see why it's better. I think you can make Chariot Archers work. They're just so strong that it's like almost doesn't make sense not to build them in a way against kind of anything. But yeah, I think it's important to be making the camels here instead. I do hit a nice raid on him. He's raiding me. Unfortunately, I completely botched on that, and he clicks ceasefire for me, so I don't lose any villages, and he's going to lose some. So, bit of a win for me on that one, as we need to get farms set up. I got my Shadufin and everything else, and I'm just looking for any pressure, checking what he's doing. I have basically seen he's on 2 town centers. That means military units are coming, or tech is coming. So I've got to be careful, but getting some raids off is always good. But always having that thing in the back of your mind on what is my opponent actually doing here is very important. If you look at the map, you will see that I've got another really nice gold mine to the left of where my forward base is. So if I can run over there and wall that up around about at this point, it'd be very, very nice. I've got a lot of favor in the bank, so may as well spend that on Wadgets at the moment. Unfortunately for him, he doesn't actually finish up his wall, and I'm already back with my spearmen to get a couple more raids in. And we just need to make sure we're going to get ourselves all the stuff. He does come in, and he is raiding us. He's got his bronze. He's got 2 Hydra. And this is effectively what I was worried about to some degree. So now we're in full panic, and he has got a very tough army I can't really kill. I'm not quite at full pop, but luckily for me, he's going after my Citadel, which is really, really strong. And you can see his army right now is Hippaspist Cavalry, Hippias. Hippaspist Hippias. So technically speaking, my Chariot Archers are fine here. But guess what other unit would be absolutely fine against these against this thing? A Camel Rider. Camel Rider, good against Hippias, good against Hippaspist, and would be totally fine. So nonetheless, it doesn't matter because the Chariot Archers on top of those Migdols are insanely powerful. Just garrison between the Migdols and you're fine. And we survived the bronze push, didn't lose anything. Still have to control our units really well here. But like I said at the start, you look at the score right now, I'm only a tiny bit behind. This is me being in front. Unfortunately, on my Migdol strongholds, I'm not smart enough to do this yet. One day I'll get there. But I should have a monument on this. I can delete the monument back home, the monument to the villages, and make that happen. But alas, not to be. As we do get another little raid onto his gold. Check out onto the left side here. He's going for a fortress. I'm gonna try and put a stop to this, but his army is very strong here, and I decide, okay, we better pull back ever so slightly. But we got a couple of priests out to kill those Hydra. Immediately shift clicking, and then just trying to make sure that I snipe down anything important there, and the villagers to stop the fortress. And at this point, I mean, that fortress on the front is a threat for Petropoli, so I need to keep attacking. I'm nearly at full population. I'm ready for the second town center, and Lordy says, GG there as he loses the army. You can see how strong just having that forward position is. If I have that back town center, all of a sudden I have to like push forward to get a gold mine. And my opponent is going to be sitting there, right? There's no way he wouldn't be sitting in front of that town center. So it makes it so much harder. Whereas if I have that forward town center like I got here, I'm more than happy to do all that, well, to move backward and put a migdol down. Now, alternatively, if the gold mine's really, really nice and right on top of that forward town center as well, I can just put the migdol next to my forward town center, and then I've got a push into his base. Now, I didn't show that off in this one, but we might show it off in a future game. But this style of set is incredibly potent, and yeah, very, very strong. We'll move on to the next game, which is against Lightweight Baby. This is also known as Nullus. Now, I didn't know it at the time. I was asking chat, what sort of a player am I playing against? Sometimes you can run into 1400 players, you can run into 1700 players, you can run into 2K players, and everyone and their mum likes to change their name. So chat told me this is a 1700 plus player, but this is Nullus. He is a top 10 player, in my opinion. He's been AWOL for the past couple months. I actually had a great chat with him the other day. He's doing all great and stuff, and he's going to come back and play a whole bunch of games. So yeah, we're playing him in this one, and I imagine he is somewhat rusty-ish in this game. So keep that in the back of your mind. Nullus is an insanely strong RTS player, but even inside of that, even with him being rusty, it's still very powerful. But I didn't know it was him in this game, but I'm still taking him 100% seriously. Okay, so set on Midgard. Because I play random, I get to play a whole bunch of different gods that we probably don't get to see all too much on these water maps. Oftentimes you see people going, I'm just going to pick Zeus because Zeus is the best god on this map, when in reality, there's actually quite a few gods, in my opinion, that work decently on the map. There's some things you have to really play around. For example, the Hydra is a really, really powerful... Well, not the Hydra. The Skyla is a really, really powerful naval myth unit that realistically doesn't have that much counterplay. Now, Egyptian does have some counterplay inside of the Leviathan. I'm not playing against Zeus here, but I'm just giving you these sort of ideas for if you want to play Egyptian here again and you're going to be running into that stuff. So if you see the Skyla coming, you have to make sure you've got the monuments up to be able to build those Skyla such that you buy the Leviathan to deal with the Skyla such that you can keep your water economy going, because if you lose it, then all of a sudden you're way behind the Greek and it can be impossible to catch up. Nonetheless, in this game, I'm probably going to be looking to do a fast heroic. The more I play Egyptian on water, the more I feel like this is the only real way to play the matchup. Like, you can't realistically do a classical fight. You can't realistically do a fast second town center. Yeah, there's not really that many different options. It's mostly just fast heroic, and I think you'll see why. I mean, maybe you can do a village center fast heroic as an idea. That could work. I wouldn't be surprised if it does work. But nonetheless, there's probably actually a fourth... There's probably actually the more I think about it, there's probably actually a really fast classical age. Like, I used to do this build on Highland, which was like a 9 fishing ship, 1 dock, classical age into a fast 3 town center. And that actually might work on this map against some civs. It might even work against Zeus, to be honest. Zeus going for like a mass hoplite, rush onto you, and then you just kind of run the villagers away and then spam chariot archers out at them. But nonetheless, there's just a fishing boom here. This build order is the one that I recommend for all of the Egyptians. You basically just put your first 2 villagers on wood. You build your dock with the other villager. You put 4 villagers on food. You put 3 on gold. You get your temple. Or you build a second dock. You get your temple. You get the next docks down. Make sure you got up to 6 villagers after you get the gold villagers there, and then everyone else onto food. And you should get like roughly like a 415. I think I get a nail of 415 here, so that's nice. And yeah, so now I've put a whole bunch of villagers onto gold. I probably should take my pharaoh off of wood there and put it over onto gold there as well, but nonetheless, I just need to make sure I'm getting all of these defenses in, get my upgrades, and we're all good. Probably don't need to build fishing ships anymore now I have them all out. But a huge fishing ship boom means a lot of resources for me. Unfortunately, I forgot to bring my walruses back, so I have to jump onto some cows there. But it's not the biggest of issues, and realistically, I'm not going to be on food with too many villagers in the mid game. Hopefully, I'm just going to be relying on the fishing economy in this matchup. Realistically, I think if I can hold gold mines, I'm good. So we can talk a little bit about gold mine positioning on Midgard and how it changes based on matchups against Gaia. Realistically here, gold control is the aim. And obviously if they're going to be going for gold control as well. So we both are going to be fighting as hard as we can to try and control those spots. So realistically speaking, if both players play competently and play very, very nice gold control, then you can actually have a really, really interesting game here. I think that potentially the Egyptian uses more gold than the Atlantean. I could be wrong on that actually. So we might need a gold mine more, 2 gold mines more than what our opponent has. So what I'm looking at on the map is there's 2 settlements that are really, really important here. And they are kind of both on his side of the map. It looks like he's got a back gold mine, a forward gold mine on his. I don't really see that on my side of the map. So he's got a really, really nice situation there. I spied or visioned his base just to see if he was making any dudes or not. He's going for some water stuff, some water shenanigans, actually attacking me, which is kind of getting to be a little bit more rarer on this map. Most people go for like more land aggression stuff with very not that many ships, and you know, as is the case, I have to react to this, and you'll kind of see why people don't do this all too much. Like realistically, I don't have to invest that many resources in defense. I already invested them into the actual docks, so we're good to go. I don't mind having some idle fishing ships here, pretty much ever. If he wants to go heavy on water, I'm also happy with that. Like I said, this matchup is normally going to be about gold control, so I'm just going to try and do my best to just hold on to the water, and whenever he attacks me, whenever I hear a voodoo, I'm going to jump over there and try and save my fishing ships. I don't want to lose any, but I also don't want to overdo it. Nonetheless, going to the next stage, I know I need monuments for my upgrades and for my Migdols. I've only got the 1 monument up at the moment, which is not going to be enough. He charges forward with some Bareems here. If I can clean up that servant, I'll be happy. This is a unit I don't get to see all too much getting utilized. It's actually quite strong. It has a really nice heal, and if you utilize that, you can get a lot of value with it. Don't get to see it all too often. But nonetheless, now Heroic Age means I get access to a Leviathan, and that's another thing that I want out of those monuments. So, I mean, maybe there's an argument that I should grab at least Monument to the Soldiers as I'm advancing to the Classical Age, rather than waiting until I'm advancing to the Heroic Age to get it. But nonetheless, this timing does mean I get I get my Migdol. I'm going to put a Citadel in to get a little bit more economy going from my town center. This Citadel thing is really, really strong. For anyone wanting to play Set, I would 9 times out of 10 recommend going for Sekhmet at the moment over going for Nephthys. The Nephthys really doesn't feel that great with Set. Honestly, like the only time I would recommend Nephthys over Sekhmet is if your opponent's like heavily going in onto myth units, and I mean heavily going in onto myth units. Otherwise, you're going to be perfectly fine just using a Pharaoh and using a couple of priests to pick off myth units, and even using chariot archers with the range to pick off myth units as well is completely fine. But yeah, his my opponent here this is like max pressure on this water with I think he's really not invested that much into this. So he's done a really good job. I think this is, if there is a way to play water at the moment, like, and build navy, this is the way to do it. It's like a light pressure, hitting all the fishing ships and trying not to lose any ships, just continuously hitting those fishing spots. You can put your ships onto stand ground stance, so you don't have to, like, they're not going to get pulled in underneath the stuff, underneath the docks and get picked off. It can be a nice way to play there. Still another house there, but now we have the Migdol up. I'm actually building some elephants. My plan is I don't want to allow him to go for a 1 town center fast mythic of any variety. I hate that. I don't want to play against it. So I am countering it like pretty hard by going for elephants. I've got shifting sands, and this is my plan. And this is a plan to be used in pretty much every matchup. And the only thing is that if your opponent sees this, they may decide to go for a very, very hard counter units like catapulties. I should simply just garrison these elephants into my Migdol and be a little bit more tricky with it. He scouted that I have these elephants in. But yeah, it is what it is. Okay, so unfortunately over on that corner there, I still have to deal with those ships. I have a Leviathan though, so it should be enough. And he's still getting harassment. We still have to deal with all this. I mean, in terms of like games that I've played on Midgard, I actually feel like I'm dealing with this pressure better than I normally would. I feel like I'm playing this one pretty good in terms of this stuff. Unfortunately, I run my Deuterino in and I'm a bit not slow. I was almost slow. There's a tiny bit of line of sight left when the unit dies. So I'm going to be coming in to kill off this town center. I mean, if he's going to the Mythic Age, I've cancelled it. If he's gone to Town Center, I kill the Town Center and we get to continue in the Heroic Age. Either way, I'm happy. So we get a kill. And I can see now that he is well and truly in the Heroic Age, and we're going to have a bit of a Heroic Age fight. I don't mind losing all these units. These elephant are going to trade decently regardless. The only thing is if you have like mass catapulties, which luckily he has a whole bunch of termites, so none of that. I do notice his army is a lot of counter units, so I will have to make some barracks units at some point here. But getting some kills onto this is going to be good. He is making Arcus actually as well, so Chariot Archers. Elephant is fine for the time being, but yeah, I've got the barracks down. I'm still 1 town center. I don't know if he's 2 town center or not at the moment. He might be. But I've killed off one of his. I've defended all my fish. If you ever watch me playing on Midgard, you know I don't care enough about harassing on water. I just don't. I think it's more important to invest everything onto the land. Partly because of my multitasking is not up to standard to be able to actually keep everything alive and get value out of the naval units. You'll see that I send these. He does have his 2nd town center up. You'll see that I send these ships forward, and I don't look at them again. That's just I'm just not good enough at it. Well, I say I'm not good enough at it. I just haven't put the time into practicing it, and it feels like it's a different skill than sort of raiding in a normal game, because you have to be like so much more aware of everything else going on. And my boats are going to die over there, but that's fine. And we're actually fighting in the middle anyways. I have to take this fight. He's making Contarius now. So Contarius Arcus, I'm more than happy to keep making these elephants. They're really, really tanky. I got all my Migdols up, and I think we're good here. Again, I make another mistake of not putting a monument on these Migdols, so I'm losing out quite a bit on like the max value I could get. So deleting my monument to the villages and putting it forward here probably would be worth it. I mean, it paid itself off pretty quickly. Or I could just put up the 4th monument, which is also very, very worthwhile. Like making Wadgets. They only cost wood when gold is so important on this map. It would make some sense. But we get some good raids in. Like I said, this bottom town center was something that like kind of flared up in my mind as something that's really, really important. So luckily I'm down there and I'm pushing off the gold, checking the town center, making sure he's not grabbing it. If he does grab it, I'll put pressure over there. And I'll try and swing down onto that spot and grab that position. The top town center over there, there's no gold on it from what I can... There is one gold mine to the left of it, but there's no like serious gold mine on it at the moment, so I don't care that much about that position. Though grabbing that town center can be very, very helpful. And at this point, still just looking at what units he's making. He's making catapulties, so I definitely need axemen out. The chariot archers are going to be okay at dealing with those, but it's going to be important to get those axemen. As I see he's going onto that forward gold mine there, I need to start looking to hit that, and now we get the axemen out. I can't remember if I have upgrades. Yes, I've already got the upgrades in for them. So I did this in advance, I think. Generally, I don't like building barracks units if they don't have any upgrades. They're just not that good. They die too quickly. In fact, they do die very quickly against these Arcus here, so got to be careful with this. One way to micro it is to sort of ensure you put your elephants or a camel rider onto the Arcus so that they're going to be targeting them down, and then you can have the axemen obviously doing what they need to do on the front. So just the smallest amount of micro to send units onto the back line can be a very big help. So now I'm going to send my villagers over there and get a Migdol stronghold up and try and secure the gold. There's still quite a lot of gold mines on the map that need securing, but as we are fighting, this means he's not going to the next age. And this is something you can generally keep in the back of your mind, is if you're going to continue to fight in Age Mythology and you're going to continue to force fights and continue to play aggressive, your opponent cannot go to the next age. They have to be a little bit more... They have to respect that you have units and that you're attacking them, and then they're going to have to build units themselves. So you can continue to keep them in this heroic age. And if the Gaia plays in the heroic age, and we're happy, I think, as the set. So I'm going to grab 2 more town centers as I'm nearly at full population. I want to keep making more pop. I got so much favor in the bank. I think it'd be well worth it for me to take a handful of villagers off of gold and put them onto wood and make wadgets here. Heroic age wadgets are, especially when you're playing like a contained sort of style, or not like a movement, you don't need a lot of movement in your army. If you're playing a contained sort of style, man, there's so many nice raids here from Nullus, but I am noticing it, so that's good. But yeah, the wadgets in this sort of a situation would be absolutely huge, because they're just sitting there and they're just getting damage done over and over and over and over and over again. Sort of like the chariot archers, but on steroids. And with 62 favor in the bank, definitely worthwhile. But alas, not gonna happen anytime soon, I think. I still got a lot of favor to spend on things for Horus. I can probably go into a whole bunch of Avengers if I get there. So not spending the favor at this point is also an option. The thing with Egyptian as opposed to like Greek or Norse is that you get a lot of favor, but you get it like up front. There's like a limit to your favor income to some degree as well, right? So you can choose to spend it nice and early. You can choose to spend it a little bit later. And that's fine as well. But I do think that having a bunch of wadgets here would have been gigantic for me. It's a bit of a mistake. As you can see, my army here, my macro is a little bit off. I'm trying to figure out how to beat these Arcus. They're so strong. Making some mercenary cavalry as an idea here, just to tank things up, and even a little bit of micro onto the destroyers to keep my axemen alive. That's really important. I've got that forward gold mine on the front. He's got one in the middle, and he's got one on the bottom. So he's got 2 gold mines, and I have the rest. So I'm up 2 gold mines on him, large gold mines on him total, which to me is a big advantage. And I guess I'm wasting some gold here making mercenary cav, so he's probably happy about that. But yeah, I need to hold this spot. If I lose this town center, I lose that gold mine on the left, and then I pretty much get into a equal spot with him. And maybe an equal spot with him isn't that bad, but we definitely want to maintain our advantage that we got from the sneaky town center grabs and things like that. But still, more of these mercenary cavalry. They might not seem very good, but They are. I mean, what is it? 120 gold for a bit of a tank for our chariot archers is kind of a big deal. But still, nearly 100 favor. I'm looking at this going, I mean, I can use the favor on another Citadel center here, which isn't a bad idea either. Part of me feels like I was thinking about this, but in hindsight, I mean, is this really worth it? It might be. I've already got so much population, so I don't know if I really needed it. Whereas my army is not exactly trading as well as I would have liked. So what's better? The Citadel Center? I mean, now the Citadel Center helps me hold this position amazingly. So maybe it is the right call. I don't know. What do you guys reckon? Wadgets or Citadel Center here? Probably the Citadel Center. But we get our monument up now. And I'm now looking to lock down that final gold mine in the center. I see he's building a palace himself, so if I can get a Migdal up, at least we'll have the same amount of arrow fire on that position. He's still raiding me, which is very, very nice. Like, in hindsight, it's probably worth it to pick up that conscript docks, right? So that you can react very, very quickly to his raids by just building a unit, but nonetheless. He's still going after that gold mine on the top, which is like, I don't want you on that gold mine. Please leave it alone. I have so many idle villages here that need to be on a gold mine. I've got the gold mine up the top. I got plenty of villages on gold, actually. But we're going to be running out of it soon. But yeah, at this point, more chariot archers is basically the name of the game. If I can get out some elephants here as well, it's huge. I got so much food in the bank. One siege tower. Very rarely do I get value with my siege towers. I'm building the siege tower mostly to tank the archers. He's got so many citizens over here. He could just do a bit of a dive through the palace and then shank my siege tower down. That's normally what happens to me in these situations, but looks like I'm getting away with it very, very nicely here. So that might be a dead Migdal stronghold. I'm getting this technology out of my siege tower, my siege works as well, which means I can get a catapult in the heroic age. Whether or not I will build any of those remains to be seen, but yeah, at this point I'm going to have to start thinking about starting a trade route because my gold mines are going to be expiring. He's obviously trying to get himself some palace over there, but a trade route on Midgard is always kind of average. So, I mean, what else can you do? But it looks like he's going to have to give up because he doesn't have any stuff left, and I barely inched out a win. You can see how close this sort of a matchup is. So long as you get these gold mines in, then that's where you find the win, right? Like, if he'd grabbed, even if he'd still held on to this one gold mine in the middle here, maybe this game just keeps going on, and we both have to start a trade route, and, you know, it's a bit of an equal game, but like obviously the Gaia has got the caravan or the llama caravan freeway on the lush, and the Egyptian has got the pharaoh to put onto the trade route. But either way, the trade route's still very, very average in terms of gold income. But a fun game nonetheless. Really, really fun against Nullus. Always fun against Nullus. Let's move on to the next one. All right, so this one's really, really interesting. I said I was going to tell you why using Shifting Sands on a town center, to grab a forward town center is not your best play. So Super Saiyan, he is, I would say, he's around 1650 to 1700. I believe that is in the top 100. It looks like it's 115. So there's a fairly sizable elo difference in this game, so just take this game with a bit of a grain of salt. But he does execute a really, really strong strategy here. So this is one that you will run into on the ladder. So definitely something to keep in the back of your mind. It works with Ra as well, this tactic that I'm going to show off. And also the idea for, it works with Uranus as well as an idea. And yeah, in many different situations, just simply running away can be the right plan. But you'll see why just running away isn't enough against what Super Saiyan does in this game. So again, similarly to playing against Poseidon, I want to grab a forward town center here if I can. I see my back town center. I mean, if the town center is back and it's amazing, I might go, I mean, I can just do whatever I want with this town center, right? I'll grab it. It's going to be fine. But yeah, so I'm looking to push forward. I'm looking to grab that forward town center if it's at all possible. One thing that I'm scared of against Zeus is Bolt on to my Pharaoh and Labyrinth of Minos Minotaurs coming at me to kill off all my villages and deny my town center. It's very, very strong. I have shifting sands to run away from that, but I don't really want to have to. I don't really want to have to do that if I can help it. Nonetheless. Same build order as always. I go and onto a straggler tree. I make the villagers get 6 wood. Then I move them over to the granary, build that with the Pharaoh. That gets me my 120 wood, or it's 123 wood. And then I build a monument and empower it up. So it's very micro intensive to start the game off, but in terms of the advantage that it gets me, I get a 4-minute advance time, which allows me to get the town center that I want. Plain and simple. That's why I do it. If it didn't get me anything, I probably wouldn't bother, and I'd just take an easier route and take a little bit of a more simple opening in most of my games. But this is the way to do this sort of a build that I've found that works for me. So yeah, and you'll see me doing this pretty much every single game with every single Egyptian, because I think that this 4-minute timing is just really, really important for consistency's sake and all the other good stuff. Plus, a faster town center is always better, right? You get more villages, means more economy, means better. Right? Anyways. I'm going to be converting some giraffes there, and I made a mistake. I did send something over there, a priest over there, onto the top. I missed the elephant. If I find those elephant, all of a sudden, I'm not scared of anything. If I get any aggressive animals, I'm really, really happy. He bolts my priest, and now I'm even more happy. If I get bolted, if one of my priests gets bolted, that means he can't bolt my Pharaoh. So all of a sudden, the Labyrinth of Minos rush is not that important. I've got a Wadjet, and I've got a Pharaoh to defend against it, and I'm going to be able to get more priests, and we're going to be fine. You can even see I built 2 extra priests here to get some more conversions up. Might have been overkill. This does delay my town center a little bit. I did delay my own advance time. I want a 4-minute here. I see 2 villages on the temple, and I'm counting everything and just being, okay, what's he doing? What's he doing? What's he doing? It looks to me like he's going to be getting extra Minotaurs out. It looks to me like he isn't going for a second town center. So I'm ready to walk forward onto this town center at the front. I'm trying to be sneaky with it. I imagine he's checking out yes, I see his scout going the other way, so very happy about that. But even if he's got a hero over here, I can go for this, I think. It's a very late advance time. I'm not exactly sure what went wrong with my advance there. But yeah, this is the plan. I'm going to have to bring my priest forward. I want to defend this. I would say that some of the time this is going to fail. And if it does fail, then you just have to shifting sands. Like, that's just how it is. Maybe you can shifting sands over the other town center. Maybe if you spot the stuff already there, you can just go for a village center. But generally speaking, this sort of a town center is just a godsend in this matchup to help you. It's got giraffe on the back. It's got gold mine to the left. And yeah, this is what you want. So when you're going for this, I'm looking at I'm making a lot of assumptions in this at this point in the game. But I saw the 2 villages on favor, meaning he's going for Minotaur, which means he's not going for a town center. I saw not that many villages on wood, which means, again, not town center. So probably going to be hoplites. It's probably going to be Minotaur hoplites at this point, right? Off of 1 town center. So my answer to this is always, I'm going for a fast heroic. Now, if I misread the situation, he went for a second town center, no worries, that's good. If I don't misread the situation and he goes for a 1 town center all in, I'm also fine because I'm going to get Heroic Age in and I'm going to sack a town center. If he wants to kill my main base, no worries. I'll move to my other town center. If he's going to kill my other town center, no worries. I'll move to my main base. Obviously, the main base is a lot more powerful. And he's going to come in and hit me here. And I do see a Toxotes, so even more knowledge. I'm going to chuck up a little cheeky obelisk to just see what's happening. Just want to see where everything's coming in. And yeah, so a little bit of a, I would say a late-ish advance time. Normally I'm around about advancing here, but I had to get a whole bunch of extra priests out, so my gold income was a little bit lower, which means my food income is going to be a little bit lower. But I'm not upset with this situation in the slightest. He finds my priest in the corner converting an elephant, very upset about that. And now I can just jump onto this gold mine. This is one of those things that you'll see players like Kavoth do really, really well. Is they're gonna save, their home gold mine, and that's what I want to do. I really want to save it as long as I possibly can. Make a big mistake here though. Don't do this in your games. When you're going for a naked fast second town center into a naked fast heroic, don't go for the heroic age on the forward town center. That's dumb. That's really dumb. Especially when you know he's one town center. Like, I know he's one town center. I know he's all in some variety. So I have to respect that. If he wants to suicide in onto my main town center here, fine, go for it. I'll take the L. I'll shifting sands away. If need be, but hopefully I'm in the heroic age. So I see his army coming through, and I kind of don't see that many. Yeah, there's not that many actual hoplites here, so I kind of feel like I'm fine, but I don't want to lose any villages. So I make the shifting sands at this point. I still feel like I can potentially be safe here, but then I look at his army. I'm like, all of a sudden, wait, there's so much stuff here. Where'd all the units come from? I thought it was just Toxotes Minotaur, but there's actually a good handful of units. So I should have cancelled the segment when I made the Shifting Sands play. I cancel it now as I'm like, it's probably going to die. I'm probably not going to get there. So yeah, bit of a cancel, bit of a mistake. Not good, because I need time here. At this point now, I have to sit in my base and get units out. So yeah, he kills my town center. I'd say, given that I got my town center up at about, what, 5 minutes into the game, that's about, like, 4 minutes of villager production. So I am in front on economy, but he is way in front on military right now. As he's, I'm trying to escape with this elephant. I don't know if I'm going to be able to, but nonetheless. And you'll notice that even against these Minotaur, I know he's spamming Minotaur, but I also still think there's no point in going Nephthys. I don't rate Nephthys at all anymore. I see he's going for Hoplites, Toxotes, Minotaur, so that means my unit to counter this army is just simply put the Chariot Archer. It kills everything in this army and more. So he is effectively opting into this. I had the idea of potentially like mass Minotaur being able to beat Chariot Archers, and to some degree they can. They can beat the Chariot Archer, but realistically speaking, no. No, because the priests are just too good. So I see the Minotaur. I'm just going to build the priests out. It's all good. Priests are... I would say they are like... Not priests, but heroes. Most heroes aren't... I wouldn't call heroes really a hard counter. This is probably something that is a leftover remnant... Excuse me. A leftover remnant of Legacy. And I've seen people complain about this a bit. And then there is some right to be for the complaint. But if you understand exactly what's going on, it might be a little bit less of a pill to swallow. A little bit smaller of a pill to swallow. Easier to swallow that pill. But heroes are like somewhere in between a soft counter and a hard counter on a myth unit in Retold. So you need quite a few to actually get anything done. So there you go. And that's the same with her. So that's the same with Dodie. Like the first age hero from Greek, not like that. The Pharaoh, not like that. They're hard counters to these myth units. So there are some hard counters, but there are some like somewhere in the middle of a hard counter and a soft counter. So just like a kind of just a counter, I guess. And he's gonna come over here. I've got time. Right now, I can trade. This is the advantage of doing this strategy. It's like, sure, I've run out of gold, but I got so much gold from that outside gold mine that I'm all of a sudden in an actual decent spot. So I'm gonna keep pushing forward. I'm gonna keep putting gold mines up, selling resources, and trying to take position. I've got literally 4 Migdols up. This is what makes, in my opinion, is making set really, really good. Well, Migdol's got buffed. All castles got buffed in the recent patch. And I can build a lot of them with set because they're very, very cheap. So yeah, that's where we're at with that one. And now, because I got these chariot archers, I'm just going to be looking for any snipes I possibly can, getting ballistics, getting heavy chariot archers here. I don't want to fight him. I'm literally just looking for snipes. Might seem it's probably pretty annoying for him to do this, but this is how my army wins this fight. This is literally the strategy. He's going to try and surround me, but I've got the defenses with my priest. A nice attempt from him actually, but that restoration was not nice. He was trying to keep the Minotaur alive so he could headbutt the chariots in and then kill them with the hoplites. I'm not sure if that ever works, but a nice idea. But yeah, at this point, I'm just going to keep spamming chariot archers out until he does anything different, because I know that my units here are going to win. And plus, I've got bone bow as well, which is obviously a really, really strong tech. I think this tech's been like kind of... It wasn't that good in Legacy, because the way that the like arrows worked in Legacy was that the further away you were from the target, the less accurate you were actually going to be, which basically meant that while it's fine to be attacking with the chariot archers at 24 range is what they were, I think, as he does manage to get a little bit of a headbutt, but I'm just going to run away here. That was a nice play by him. But while the chariot archers are great, they can attack at 24 range, because so many of them are missing. It's not that big of a deal. But in Retold, they're not missing at all. Ballistics comes through. Every single one of those arrows is hitting. None of them miss. They're really, really strong. And same too for the 20 range chariot. The 20 range Arcus is also quite strong as well, right? Because of this idea once ballistics comes in, right? Before ballistics, I think there is a bit of an accuracy thing going on where they do miss. So yeah, it's important to have that technology if you're going to go for bone bow. So bone bow ballistics, heavy chariots is your big thing. Like the thing is that even before the chariot archer got boosted, this was the situation to build it in. When your opponent's going for a infantry archer composition, and this worked against literally everything that was doing that comp before the chariot archer got buffed, right? Now the chariot archer seems to work a little bit better against cavalry units, and it's still losing to the cavalry units in some situations and winning in other situations, but yeah, it's just a good unit, and you can see that while it does take a lot of effort to control these guys, they're gonna be very, very strong. And in any of these micro fights, you just have to clean up the right units straight away and keep sort of shooting, scooting. Box formation is your friend here as well. I'm trying to heal up my scarab to get more pushing power. But box formation is a really, really useful tool when doing kiting. I'm not doing it at the moment, but it's definitely really, really strong. And you can kind of see how far in front I am, economically speaking, even after losing a town center, just by using this like trick of the shifting sands. Nice little move there from him with the Toxotes. He gets into range of me, but unfortunately for him, the Scarab is tanking everything up. I'm trying to dodge those Toxotes here. One of my favorite things in this game is to like try and catch my opponent shooting me with units and having like Neo units or something like that. It's really, really fun. But this strategy here of just abandoning a town center when you get all in is so good. He calls me a Chariot Archer abuser, but I mean, ridiculous. Like, I'm sorry. This is the point where Chariot Archers are supposed to be good, in my opinion. So, I am a Chariot Archer abuser in this situation. Anyways, that's the idea. I hope you guys are enjoying this one. I got one more game for you in another Set versus Greek matchup. A lot of people are telling me that this matchup is tricky, so I'm yet to see exactly why that's the case. Maybe this next one will show you guys. All right, the final one. Nellis has changed his name back. He's no longer Smurfaroonie, and this is the real deal. He's been playing quite a lot of games, and I know he is getting very, very strong, very, very quick. I would not be surprised to see him back in the top 10 very, very shortly. I think he's definitely one of the best players to have ever played the game. So, yeah, I would not be surprised if he's there insanely quickly as we come up onto this position. So, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but my plan in this game is to grab a forward town center, set up shop there, and then push into my Greek opponent's base. I've played this game enough now, and enough variations of it. The way that the retold meta currently is there are a lot of similarities with Egyptian right now to Legacy. So all of this Legacy knowledge going through my head and how it works against Greek. There's differences, obviously, but there's so many things that are just the same that I'm like, okay, I just have to get a forward town center. This secures me map presence. This prevents my opponent from walling me in. Does so many good things. So that's what we're going to go for. Now, beyond all of this, I guess the things that I'm scared of here is if Nullus is going to go for anything other than a Vault of Erebus build. Because if I want to go for this forward town center, I mean, the only real way that he stops me from doing this is by going for a different build himself, advancing quicker, getting units out, and trying to deny that. Now, if he goes for Vault of Erebus, he does have more economy, but, you know, that's going to be it. Now, the other thing is, on a map like this, I know that there are rhinos. So I did convert a zebra, and this was to get scouting information. I found my rhino, and I'm going to start converting these. Unlike in the last game against the Zeus, where I was a little bit scared of, say, the Labyrinth of Minos thing, I'm not scared at all in this matchup. I don't need an extra priest. I'm going to have animals are set to defend myself. He can't bolt my pharaoh, so my pharaoh is good against the Minotaur. The animals will pick off the heroes. And my town center will get up, no problems. I see the forward town center. I see 2 town centers. I'm trying to make a decision on which one to grab. I've taken the rhino from this top town center, so I'm like, okay, I will take the other one. And the other one is probably, I would say, roughly a similar amount of distance from my home gold mine anyways. So we have to make the trek over there, but it's, yeah, this is really, really nice. And also, I'm not going to convert those rhinos. So yeah, I'll have 2 rhinos, plus I'll have the 2 rhinos on the bottom town center to eat. Plus I got the 2 rhinos behind my town center on like the second town center there to grab. Unfortunately, I can't steal Nullus's, but nonetheless, we get our 4-minute advance in properly here, so that feels great. And we're going to move our villagers over and start getting ourselves houses done. And at this point, I'm trying to scout around and see what's happening. I haven't yet spotted it. But this map does have a really, really crazy back gold mine. And at this point I go, hang on, back gold mine over here. Maybe I should just play for the safer town center. I quickly say no to that. And I go, what does that actually mean? It actually means I have to play even more aggressive because it means he's got a safe gold mine. So that back gold mine behind my base means he's got a back gold mine behind his base. So yeah, I swiftly say, no worries, we're going to run forward. You see I actually leave some villagers behind to get the final bit of gold in. He's actually going to scout it straight away, but I know that there's nothing he can do. He doesn't hit a 4-minute advance. I know he's going for the later advance time. Accidental T instead of an R click there. I use legacy hotkeys. But yeah, this town center is mine, and I say good luck to you and your Achilles, Ajax, and Minotaur to deal with my priest army here. In fact, if you want to come over here, it's gonna be a tough time for you. I do a little bit of a trick here. So what is he gonna do? What would you do if you're a Hades player in this position? Pause the video and ask yourself that. But okay, right now, the Hades player wants to go for a town center, right? Or an all-in. So if I see him going for a town center, okay, so if he wants to go for an all-in, we already saw what I do there. I let him do the all-in and I run away. I shifting stance away. If he goes for a town center, all of a sudden he's not going for an all-in. I don't need to worry about this. So I'm going to come over here. I see his units on my front. I'm like, okay, I'll get some damage done. I'll get my units to start work. And I am going to go for a shifting sands play and pick those villagers off on this town center while he is out of position. This is really obnoxious. Get a couple of kills here. Unfortunately, I don't kill off the town center, but a couple of villager kills and a lot of idle time. And then I can just run. I get the villager kill. I don't mind losing some animals here. I don't mind losing the Wadget because I've done so much damage. And we're off to the races. So I know he's not going for an all-in. Don't have to use shifting sands on anything in this game. And yeah, if he wasn't going for that, I would hold on to shifting sands and save it for his all-in, right? Okay. So from here, it's just as simple as getting to the heroic age. You'll notice that this game, my heroic age timing should be a lot better than the game against Super Saiyajin. I also see this relic on the map, which makes my farm cheaper. I got so much food, but even so, I found so many goats in this one. But even so, I think it's important to make sure that my opponent doesn't have this relic. 25% off gold on my farms plus Shadoof, so I get 75% off of my farms. Are you kidding me? They're basically free. How good is that? So yeah, that's well worth the investment of Hands of the Pharaoh. Plus he might build heroes later anyway, so I'm gonna have to get that in. So yeah, it's gonna be like a 7-minute click up here, I guess. I could probably force drop everything at the moment in advance. There you go. And again, I click up on the 4 town center. I think this is just a mistake. Well, I mean, on the one hand, it's a mistake. On the other hand, I'm getting villagers at my home base rather than on my 4 town center. So, I mean, mistake or not, I don't know. Okay, so now I'm not exactly sure what he's building. So I need to go and check that out. Obviously, I want to build chariot archers if I can, as they are just the premium unit. I'm going to have to build them at some point in this game. But I don't know what he's doing. I may have spotted a stable. I can't remember if I spotted it or not. But effectively at this point, I got enough villagers on gold to get myself my shaft mine. I set up a little shift click there. This is something you want to be doing very, very regularly throughout your game to limit idle villagers. Idle villagers are going to be the death of you. You don't want to have any idle villagers if you can help it. So I set up a shift click to move my Deuterinos up there. And you can do this in any RTS game as well, I think, if the shift click functions correctly. Very, very useful. So now we're in the heroic age. Again, I don't have any monuments down. I do think that this matters. I think I should be getting myself at least 1 monument on the front there. Especially where I'm going to be putting up that Migdol, because it's immediate savings as soon as I start building units. But nonetheless. one thing you'll notice is we go into Chariot Archers first. I get ballistics. I'm going to put a migdol on the back there to secure that gold mine. But I'm immediately going to be scouting. And even though I'm planning to go into Chariot Archers, because like here's the thing, Greek players, their premium comp is Hoplite Peltas, right? I need to build Chariot Archers against the that comp to kick the game off. The only time at which I can beat that comp is in the Mythic Age with Horus. So yeah, I have to be like restricting it. And I move forward and I see these stables here and I go, oh, okay. Well, this is a different type of Hades. Can I go for mass Chariot Archers here against the Hippias? Maybe. Should I? Probably not. So one way you can, he's also got walls up already all over the place, but one way that you can deal with this is to immediately start swapping your economy around. Now, the beautiful thing about this is I haven't touched my herdables in my main base. So at some point here, I can just go, all right, time to take those wood villagers off of wood and put them over onto food or put them over onto gold. And yeah, and all of a sudden I'm ready to start taking into camel riders. But yeah, he wants me to build camel riders as well. So I have to sort of confirm that he is actually massing a healthy amount of units that my Chariot Archers can't beat. So we have the Scarab to start pushing forward. So we're going to go over to that. And there's my sort of transition there. I see his cavalry there, so that confirms he is building a healthy amount, and I need some defense there. I see his villagers on that spot. So yeah, we can stop making any Chariot Archers. I actually have arguably too many Chariot Archers here, so yeah, I'm reacting to what he has out on the field, not what he is actually showing to me that he's going to be building. A little bit of a riskier move than trying to predict that and going into Camel Riders straight away. But I'm now ready to defend against this. 33 on food, none on gold. Plenty of food remaining. I'd love it if I had another monument up, but I don't. So sad days. But we're now going to start thinking about pressuring into his main base. You can see I'm running forward with these villagers wanting another migdol. So bad. They nerfed one monument Egyptian like quite hard. Well, the idea was that, at least from what I understand, what it seems like, is that, you know, one monument Egyptian, two monument Egyptian was just too strong. And they were like, all right, we'll put the power into the third monument. So you players have to go for 3 monuments now instead. But it's totally fine. You can just throw them down when you need them. Anyways, you can always get them early, but that does kind of slow you down economically in a big way. And now at this point, my army is, I would say my army is big enough to not really care about a town center. He's going to put his sentinels down, so I have to be a little bit careful with this. I am building out these camel riders. But yeah, the one thing that I've got to be scared of here is a transition into Prodromus, because Prodromus will kill off my entire army if he can catch it out. Now, if I'm sitting under a couple of migdols, then Prodromus aren't going to really do anything. But I do have to be scared of it, so I need to be ready to transition into Spearmen. So getting barracks down at some point in the near future is going to be really, really important. I also decide to get some elephants out here. This is probably a mistake. I want to push him, right? That's why I'm building the elephants. But realistically, this is too many things for me to be teching into. And it's probably better to just stay camels here. Maybe go for raids, get siege towers out, and go to the Mythic Age. Because I'm going to have to transition into Spearmen anyways. But yeah, going for these elephants as well really makes my opponent want to go for, I guess, a whole bunch of Prodromus. But anyways, we're still pushing forward. I need to secure that bottom gold mine as well. That's the most important one. because that's right next to his base. He does have 1 gold mine, 2 gold mines behind his base. So if I can restrict him from having the bottom gold mine, he's on 2 large gold mines. I've got 4. That'll be better for me. At least there's one in the middle here that I want to be securing. But now he's in the heroic age. He's going to be making Peltas to clean up my chariot archers, so I just have to space those. The elephants actually against the Peltas at this point are really, really good. He is making those prodromus though, which, like I said, very scary. But I do have my barracks coming up, so I just have to be ready to go into it, and I need to make sure I'm going to be getting myself the farm transition as well, because I'm going to need a lot of stuff there. So more barracks and all the other good stuff. But at this point right now, the other thing is, like I said already, prodromus, they're fine against chariot archers when they're out in the open. When they're on a Migdol stronghold, the chariot, it's just too much damage coming in. Plus garrison micro is just too much to break through. So if I just put down 2 or 3 Migdols on this forward position, that's going to be really, really strong. So, okay, he making Minotaur, but luckily my Pharaoh's on the front here, empowering things up. You'll notice I'm empowering a Migdol. The reason for this isn't actually for the production, though the production does help. It's actually for bonus arrows to come out of my Migdol and help defend this area. It might be a bit overkill, but I like the thought process. At this point, I know he's probably on 3 town centers. If not on 3 town centers, he's got that top position completely walled off. So I can't really do anything up there. And this is the point where I think all of the pressure I can do right in front of his base. Like I said, I'm going to grab the forward town center. I'm going to push into his base. That being said, I could definitely be thinking about right now setting up a Migdol on the top side here where that forward gold mine, or that open gold mine is. That's probably one thing that I'm missing here, and another monument wouldn't go astray. But instead of doing that, I'm going to try and literally just push into his main base here and enjoy this. I'm trying to eat as much of the food on my map as I possibly can with as little walking time as possible. So always making sure that I'm doing sort of 2 things at once with my villagers, getting up a town center and eating food, or moving from a wood line over onto a gold mine, moving from a gold mine to herdables. That sort of stuff really helps your economy feel $1 million when you're playing as Egyptian. It does work with other civs as well, don't get me wrong, but with Egyptian, it's like that's the small things that I think are really, really helpful. Like with Norse, you don't want to do that because you have the movable ox caravan, so you can kind of just walk around the map. It's fine. As an example. But anyways, at this point, I've got this forward base fully set up. I'm still trying to put a pressure on here. But realistically, the only thing that I can do at this point, as you're noticing, a batch of Peltas able to, I wouldn't say quickly kill off my elephant, but relatively quickly kill off my elephant there. I need more units if I want to push here, basically. But yeah, or a Mythic Age. Mythic Age is going to be really helpful because I can actually just tornado those Peltas and then push. Or at least tornado the town center. Now, one thing is, when your opponent does have a Peltas army, they are very, very weak to raids. And you can see here that these prodromus, I mean, sure, they beat the chariot archers. But if I'm in a spot like that, a choke point like that, I'm so strong on that spot there. He does send some Peltas over to kill off my chariot archers here, and I don't notice it. But instead of sacking them, I'm going to run them off into the corner. Magic does this really, really well. I learned that from him, where it's like if he gets caught out and he has a speedy unit, a speedy army, he'll just run off into the corner, and then you'll find you've got idle military in that corner like 2 minutes later and go like, what are they doing there? And you'd be like, the game's bugged. And it's like, it wasn't the game, man. It was your opponent did something to make those units get into that spot. Nonetheless, I'm still spamming Migdols, man. This is just, it's so important to do this for production, but there are also so much value as well. on this forward position. Killing off his town center means he's no longer shooting me there. You'll actually notice his score is in front of me, which I'm looking at this going, really? I kind of feel like I've had the better trade so far, in a way, but I guess I'm the one attacking, his defending, so not the best. I'm going to chuck down a tower as well, because there's not enough space for another Migdol. But yeah, I'm trying to push in and kill this town center off as fast as I possibly can. Or not kill it off, but claim it for myself. Unlike on Legacy, I'm not as scared of the late game Greek. I do think it's still better than Egyptian slightly, but if I've got an advantage, then I win, right? As opposed to on Legacy, whereas if I had an advantage, my opponent would be able to make Colossus and I would lose the game. That happened to me way too much. I was always so upset at it because I'm like, I did so much. I put so much effort into getting an advantage. But okay, so now this is the big moment for him. He uses his big heroic age god power, and I need to respect this. I need to retreat back and defend. I need that gold mine. Very, very important. I do have the gold mine on the front, but unfortunately, getting pushed off this middle gold mine is a no-go. So I'm going to pull villages all across the map, move them around. A lot of sort of walking time needed to do this, but it's a reaction to the underworld. And I'll have to move over and clean up that position there as well. Got so many villages on wood here, and my gold mines are finishing up. I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world. I can only put like 20-something villages on the forward gold mine anyways, so it's not like if I send villagers forward there, they're going to be doing anything. So I guess selling wood at this point is the best option until I can claim the gold mine back. But yeah, so a little bit of panic for me, but nonetheless, and we have to leave our forward base. I know how important this Mythic Age is as well. I don't believe I actually have a market up yet either, so this is not good for me with the all the villages on the wood at the moment. But at least I've got all my upgrades for it, and we'll be able to kill the underworld there. Deleting that Migdol on that gold mine as well will allow me to get to the next age, but I think I do that from memory. Yeah, there we go. So up to the Mythic Age through Horus, and now I can move villages off of wood. You'll see my wood is skyrocketing because nobody needs 54 villages on the wood line. But sometimes that's just what needs to happen, especially when you don't have a market. I'm pretty sure I remember like clicking Control X, my hotkey, to find a market like a billion times. But yeah, I didn't throw one down. And yeah, now I have a market up, so I can sell some wood if need be here. And I guess on this, it's probably time to start thinking about a trade route now, because we're going to be running out of gold soon. So a trade route in that bottom corner. I've already got villages down there, which is nice. And yeah, and again with this way the map sort of turned out, we're in a good spot to get a really, really nice trade route from my hometown center actually to that bottom corner. As he hits the Mythic Age through Artemis, this is scary. Like I said, once he hits Mythic Age and he gets, what's it called? Shafts of the Plague, my army starts feeling very, very weak against pretty much all of his archers. But I think I've got the answers, so to speak. I've got enough population. I got so much favor in the bank to make myself Avengers and make myself Super Spearmen or Super Axemen as well. Spearmen with Tar will be beating Peltast even with Shafts of Plague if they've got the Horus upgrades. So that's big. And now I can drop my Tornado straight on top of the dudes. The way that the Tornado works is it's going counterclockwise. So you want to put it to the left of the army, have it move counterclockwise straight through it. And they want to be running off to the left, obviously, of the Tornado to mitigate as much of the damage as they possibly can. But Peltast have got such low HP, or archers have got such low HP, that you are generally going to kill off a lot of those units. So a big advantage now for me, and I need to convert this by grabbing the town center and just having a full population army, getting a trade route, and we're going to be good. Unfortunately, I've got 29 villages idle here, which, I mean, things get crazy, but I've got to get them to work. But there are some very important things going on here. Watching these villagers be idle for this long is hurting my soul. But yeah, over onto that spot there. I don't have enough villagers on food here either. But luckily, I noticed him going for that fortress on the middle. But yeah, at this point, I'm going to need a lot of villagers on food because I need to start spamming not only spearmen, or elephants probably at this point is more important, but I also need the trade routes, as they are all completing at the moment. And yeah, upgrades will come through, but slowly pushing through. Catapults to come in is going to be huge. I'm getting that force of the, or ram of the west, force of the west wind, whatever it's called. This tech is so good. Like, catapults are already strong, and then you give them more power. It's like, there's not a world where we're not going segment. I keep on saying, segment is just so good. It's got so much power. I actually think it was probably the right choice even before the Citadel got boosted. Like, maybe, yeah, even before the Citadel got boosted, I think it was the right choice. This god is so strong. Anyways, fortress is going down on the back. And then what? A couple more catapults. But yeah, at this point, I think he's going to run out of gold before I do. His trade route is incredibly weak. I didn't really talk about this, but this is like a long-term strategic plan with why I'm pushing his his hometown center on this map, is because, well, his trade route has to go somewhere, and if it's in the top corner, which is kind of his best position, or his only position really, then it's a tiny distance, so he's not getting any gold from it, basically. So killing off this hometown center is really big for me. And he could do the same thing as well if he wants to hurt me, and I haven't really protected it. So, but I'm the one on the attack, so for him to do that, it'll have to be a side build, which I think I could react to. But yeah, we got the dub, and yeah, this is why my my win rate with Set recently has been so obscenely strong. I mean, lots of people are experimenting with Egyptian right now, going for a lot of monuments, and a lot of people saying it's really, really strong. But in reality, Set in particular is just really good with this tactic, with this strategic thing in mind. I'm not exactly sure what to do as Greek here. You're just trying to hold on until you get the stronger army, and maybe you can survive, maybe you can't. I don't know. But at this point, I feel like I'm having a lot of success with this build, with this idea against Greek. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed this one, please consider the follow on the Twitch, from the YouTube, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next game.